Time to nosh on some candy, because you're chilling at the card pool. I'm your host, Stu.
And I'm Kyle.
And today we're looking at part 3 of our series from Dark Ascension, meaning the money cards.
Indeed we are, and as Stu said, this is part 3 of our multi-part series look into Dark Ascension. You can check out our previous videos where we talked about some of our hidden gem favorites from the set, and next time around we'll be talking about our overall review of this set. So, without further ado, let's get on to our look at the money cards here from Dark Ascension.
Yep, and let's look at the numero uno of the creme de la creme. It is a card that is no stranger to most combo decks, and I think it's also a holy man. It is called...
Well, it was, anyway.
Well, it was. It's Mikaeus the Unhallowed. Now, this card gets you about $20. It has a mana cost of 6, however, 3 generic, and triple black for a zombie cleric with a 5/5 body. It has Intimidate. Also, whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Lastly, non-human creatures you control get +1/1 and have Undying. That last effect there is what makes it so powerful.
Yes.
It makes it so infinite combos can go off with cards like Triskelion and many other things to just go ahead and machine gun people down.
Yeah, Walking Ballista is another one.
Great one.
There's several of these kind of cards that use counters to deal damage and then die, and then they come back, and then you can start the process all over again. And
because the counter's gone, so the Undying effect continually keeps going over and over and over again.
And even aside from that, this is like crazy protection against all kinds of removal. So the idea that your creatures will just pretty much never die is great.
Yeah, it's legendary, which means it's very easy to get. It can be a commander to go ahead and make these things off. It also is a great tutor for Tooth and Nail, which whenever that's hit, I mean, you already know you're losing once that's played, but this is one of the, this and Kranko are like the two most sought ones for Tooth and Nail. So again, the only real way for you to beat this is to exile, remove this card if it's not the commander, or exile, remove one of the combo pieces. But again, another one's just going to fill the void. But to go into the other effects, though, Intimidate, strong effect, makes it so it has the ability to be more evasive on the attack.
Oh, yeah.
When it attacks, if it attacks. I don't know if it ever attacks.
It's not even that necessary.
And then the other effect for humans, bit of protection.
I don't know. It's just kind of, it's meant to be flavorful. It will rarely ever be relevant in a game, but hey, who knows? Maybe you'll destroy a creature here and there, and that's fine.
It'd be very unique. But speaking of which, let's go on to something that is entirely different permanent type.
Yeah, not much more to say about Mikaeus. It's just, it's a good card. What can I say?
Very good card. Worth its price, 100%.
Yeah, so moving on, let's go to number 2 on our list here. Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. This is a Planeswalker. Get you about $9 here. So it's a 4-drop, 2 colorless, 1 white, and 1 black. He starts with 3 loyalty, and he's got 3 abilities as usual. +1, put a 1/1 black vampire creature with lifelink into play. -2, you get an emblem with creatures you control get +1/+0. And his ultimate is -6. Destroy up to 3 target creatures or planeswalkers, and then return each card put into a graveyard this way onto the battlefield under your control. This is a really solid planeswalker, and like he used to be a lot more expensive than this. His price has dropped considerably, but there's a number of reasons why this card is very good. And honestly, the ultimate is rarely ever a thing. It's the other 2 abilities that are the
100%.
gravy here.
You know, the ultimate is good.
But it's not even that powerful for an ultimate. It really isn't.
Well, I honestly almost expect the ultimate to be the minus and the emblem reverse. This is one of the few cards in which you can see the emblem actually going off like this. Gideon's the other
times
one.
in a game.
Yeah,
too, yeah.
Especially you can give it the protection. Like if this thing goes around for 3 turns, they're getting a permanent +2/+0 if they're willing to sacrifice it at that point.
Which is great.
And I mean, you might even be willing to do that. But it's just, it's so good. It has, all right, let's start off. It is lightning boltable, which is, I say, our standard to see what happens as soon as it hits. So a little bit vulnerable in that. However, we don't truly see that as a thing that's relevant in Commander.
Right, but as soon as you +1, it's out of that range. So.
But at sorcery speed, that's what I'm saying. For anything that can deal instant damage, that could be something. But it does do one of the things that all we we always check for a vanilla test on a planeswalker, is it gives itself something to protect itself.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's a flyer, which is
No,
even
no, it's
better.
not a flyer. The lifelink. You're thinking about the other Sorin.
Oh, yeah, no,
no, it's a
vampire, I'm
life. No,
thinking.
it's not a flying creature, unfortunately, but it's a lifelink creature, which
Well,
is
now it's horrible.
just
What are we
as
talking
good.
about this card for?
I think a lifelink token is immensely good.
It does the
actually.
flavor of
Yeah.
black and white. It's always about getting life. It just needed Death Touch to have the full effect, but that'd be a little bit
really
more powerful.
good. You can't make Death Touch tokens all over the place. That's too good.
Yeah. Second one, this is probably the only planeswalker you'll truly see needing more than one emblem token, which is hilarious. We talked about it. It's very blatantly obvious
Oh,
about
yeah.
this. And the last one, the -6, is really strong for the fact it steals planeswalkers.
Yeah, that is nice, but it's not one of those ultimates that like, oh, that's gonna win the game if it goes off. No, it probably won't.
It depends what's
honestly.
out. Honestly, if they have a planeswalker that's been growing and growing and growing, if you can steal it before it ultimates so you get the ultimate, that
Well,
could
but
be
it's not gonna
something.
keep. It's not gonna keep those counters because it's gonna die. And then it's going to come
my
back.
mistake, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a good ultimate, don't get me wrong, but is it going to, like, instantly win you the game when it goes off? Most likely not.
Also, Sorin and Jace are like the two most printed planeswalkers we've actually ever seen. And
Yep.
on the Sorin scale, I wouldn't say this is the strongest Sorin. And this is a strong Sorin.
Nah, the original is still the strongest. I mean,
Makes
10
the
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that's the whole reason you run it. It's like a Magister Sphinx for a cheaper cost, even though it's more mana restricted, less mana
Yeah.
restricted.
This is
technically.
definitely the second best, for sure.
But great card, great planeswalker. I mean, inherently, if you're running green too, you could doubling season it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But-
instantly. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a pretty solid card. Again, all around. Really
And
good.
actually, one thing I will note is that, remember, this is legendary. All planeswalkers are legendary now. White has a good, strong way of tutoring for legendary permanents.
It does, yeah.
So it is more tutorable than some of the other ones, we'll say.
Very true. But speaking of legends, let's go on to number 3 here. It's another legendary card. This one is a small one. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. So she is a legendary human soldier for 2 mana, and she's a 2/1 with First Strike, with the effect that non-creature spells cost 1 colorless more to cast. Now, she is $8 a pop for a very good reason, because she's pretty much a staple in almost every format that's not Commander.
It's
Because
just great tax.
it is, well, there's 2 factors. One, the tax ability is very, very relevant. Even though it does hurt you, most of the decks where you play this card play very little non-creature spells. So it's really not going to hurt you at all, while every spell your opponent is casting costs an additional 1. That's a big deal. Making a lightning bolt cost 2 mana is a big deal.
Well, and making it also so counterspell costs 3. The
Exactly.
controlled player just starts to twitch, and they're just like, I'd rather end.
Exactly. And also, she's quick to cast, and having a
tribe.
2/1 with first, like having a 2/1 for 2, whatever. But having a 2/1 with First Strike, now that's good. That means it can trade up with anything that has 2 or less toughness, and that's really, really good.
Yeah, only thing that changes is if something else has First Strike.
Exactly. So she is a very good defensive creature.
Also, it's in white. Humans are relevant. Soldiers are relevant.
So super, super relevant, yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say this would be a commander, per se.
No, not really.
But, I mean, again, depends on your build. Again, part of the 99, definitely home in a lot of decks for being the 99.
Yeah, I mean, it's low cost, so I guess there's that going for it. Good tribe, I guess that's going for it too, but if you want to play something oppressive like this, play Grand Arbiter Augustin or play Gaddock Teague.
Just about to say that, too.
One or the other. They're both way better than this.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Grand Arbiter has the effect for both blue and white for you to get boosted while they all get hurt. But that's a topic for a different day. But now moving on to number 4, since Kyle took my number 3. It's a card called Grave Crawler, and it costs you a lucky $7. It is a 1-drop creature that is a zombie with a 2/1 body. Now, Gravecrawler can't block. However, you may cast this card from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. So that is where this card truly shines. You can just keep going away at your opponent and just attack, attack, attack. Doesn't matter if it dies, because you're just going to get it back to the field. Not as a blocker, but just as a creature, as something else to keep going, as a sack outlet, anything else you want it to be.
Right.
It does it. Now, and again, casting it, it's pretty much 1 mana. You go ahead, you cast a creature, just leave 1 more open mana, bring it out. It's very versatile. It's the best way to sink excess mana in, and it's a staple in mono black zombies.
Oh, absolutely. And just any deck that uses the graveyard and uses a decent amount of zombies, it's a shoo-in, because like I was saying, there's not a whole lot of reason for this card to go on the attack a lot of the time, though. This is just a great combo piece, and it's one that is infamous and people know very, very well. Especially, it's so easy to go infinite with this card.
Yep.
I mean, you just have, all you need is this and a Phyrexian Altar, and you just got infinite dies, infinite enter the battlefield, whichever one matters.
Yeah, it's whatever archetype you're putting it in. And honestly, I have no idea how this is not mythic. For a 2/1 for 1 that constantly comes back, who cares about the blocking, honestly? Like, it's just, this should be a mythic. It should be a 1/1 or a 0/1 even, because that's where it also gets abused from, is because where its power at is 2.
Yeah, it's actually, like, it's a decent attacking creature. I rarely ever use it like that, though. It can't block, so it's pretty useless on the defense. And a 2/1, unless it's buffed up a lot, is rarely going to make a difference in combat.
It's black, Grave Pact. Grave Pact comes in spades, especially.
Well, right. That's what I said. This is not an aggressive card, although it may seem like it is at first. This is a combo card.
100%. 100% a combo card. It's worth its cost. Its cost should be higher.
Well, it used to be a lot more, but it's gone down a lot recently. Like a lot of these cards have, which it's been reprinted actually. So I'm like, hey, more inexpensive grave crawlers. I like it.
Yep, helps your wallet.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 5. Am I taking this one? Or
Oh, go ahead. No,
it?
you go ahead. I took yours earlier.
All right. Well, I took the other one.
No, go ahead.
All right, we'll go back in sync. So this one is going to number 5. It is a card called Huntmaster of the Fells. It costs $5.50 for a human werewolf that costs 4 mana, 2 and a red and a green for a 2/2 body. Now this reads, whenever this creature enters the battlefield, transform into Huntmaster of the Fells. Nope, I read that wrong. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield or transforms back into this, that's what I'm trying to say. Put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield and you gain 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, transform it. Or this turn, said. And then it turns into a werewolf with trample. In addition, whenever this creature transforms into this creature, it deals 2 damage to target opponent and 2 damage to 1 target creature that player controls. Lastly, it has the final part of being werewolf, which means if 2 or more spells were cast this turn, transform it back. And now it has a 4/4 body.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot going on there. So we have a traditional werewolf here, which is costing 4 mana. And the great thing about it is as soon as it enters, you get a creature token. And not only that, you get a wolf creature token. So that means it feeds directly into a tribal theme,
Yes,
which
it does.
is phenomenal. The only thing we're missing on this is legendary. It would be a worthy commander.
Yes, it would be. Why couldn't this be a legend? Why? This would have been perfect.
And it's not even flashy. It just does something.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This is one of the few werewolves that I actually like. And again, this card used to be a lot more expensive than this. It's gone down by at least half, so now it's only like $5.50. It used to be like 10 or 12.
Yep,
it's been reprinted recently, which really helped. But yeah, this is one of the few werewolves I actually like, because no matter what side it comes down on or flips into, something happens. That's the key with good werewolf cards.
Or good cards in general. It's not just vanilla.
Something happens. Either you get tokens and you gain life, or you grow into a bigger body and you get to do damage to somebody and most likely kill a creature. It's, oh my god, this card is good. I can't even say. This is the definition of the value town cards.
Well, and it's also great for, like we said, you get a creature. But the other side, you get 2 shocks. 1 to the face and 1 to a creature.
Yeah.
2 damage like that is not something that you just sneeze at. Most things are susceptible to dying. Especially for this coming in for 4 mana. Go ahead, if someone's mana screwed, they don't play anything next turn, or their control player saving up cards, this thing can flip into the werewolf very easily. And again, you also can choose not to play anything on your turn. So It's possible. Very easy, and it can go back and forth, and you just get the recursion that you need.
Yeah, and this is played in a lot of different modern decks because it is a human. So human
Very
tribal
relevant.
can use this card very, very much so. So yeah, it's played in a lot of places there because purely for the reason that it's not flashy, but it gives you so much value and bang for your buck. It's crazy.
Yeah, inherently, you almost expect it to cost 5 or 6 mana because it's a 2/2. You're getting a token for 2/2. All right,
It's
4
basically
mana,
a 4/4.
but you get the 2 life.
Right.
So it's like that's right there. I'd say is worth 5 mana.
Oh, I would pay
6.
5 for this. Even if it would cost 5, I would pay 5 for this.
Now, if it was 6 and it made it legendary,
Yeah, I mean, I would still I would probably go for it just because it's a good legendary wolf, but you know.
all right. Usually you say no to that, but I'm
Nah,
surprised.
I don't know. Maybe. 'Cause then again, if we have a bet, that's because we don't have any other werewolf options. So.
We do, but we don't want to admit it.
Well,
But,
yeah, the other one is terrible. So yeah.
but moving on to number 6, Kyle. This is a card that will destroy you.
Yes, it will. This is another card that you see a lot competitively. It's Grafdigger's Cage, and this card is $5 a pop right now. It's an artifact, only costs 1 to play. Creature cards can't enter the battlefield from graveyards or libraries, and players can't cast cards in graveyards or libraries. So the whole not being able to cast cards from the deck doesn't really come into play all that often, but the idea that you can't cast cards from your graveyard or creatures can't even enter the battlefield from your graveyard or your deck is really, I mean, 1 mana? 1 mana. Any deck can play this. This is nasty.
Yeah, it's really good, and also for the fact that being 1 mana, it works in so many plays. Obviously, the easiest one is Trinket Mage, just for the fact that it's, all right, super tutorable. I mean, if you know you're playing against someone who has a constant recurable Grave Engine, like every zombie deck or anything blue-black or anything dredgy, it just stops so many different colors, so many different effects in so many different ways.
Flashback, Unearth, Jumpstart, all of these things do nothing
and the list keeps
in the
going.
face of that card.
And as Magic keeps growing on, like legit, this hits more and more things. And it's, again, like you said, a 1-drop artifact that fits everything.
Yeah, you literally need this card in Modern as a sideboard card because the grave strategies are so powerful that you need something to fight them, and this is like a #1 example.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
and normally you see with cards like Ground Seal, which kind of prevent this, they draw a card. You don't even need that in this case, and it's still just as good, if not better.
Yeah, this is an insane card, and it's I wouldn't just go around playing this in any commander deck, for example, but competitive Magic is where it's at for this card, and
100%.
will be for a really long time.
100%. Yeah, not much more to say about it except, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to our number 7 card. It's called Geralf's Messenger, and it costs around $4 and, well, $0.50 plus that. It costs 3 mana. All 3 are black, and it's for a creature that is a zombie with a 3/2 body. When this card enters the battlefield, it comes into play tapped. And also, when Geralf's Messenger enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life. In addition, it also has Undying, which we mentioned before, that whenever this creature dies and it doesn't have a +1 counter on it, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/1 counter on it. So, where to start? Even though it enters into play tapped, not that big of a drawback. Because it makes it so when it comes back with the Undying, it still comes back into play tapped.
Right, which is not great, but...
Yeah, it's not great. It's just not a blocker for that turn. However, you can go ahead and bring it back on your turn, opponent's turns, have ways to make it so it can untap. This is something that's really good and abusable with being sacrificed, being recurred, removing the counter, and repeating the cycle. And that's pretty much the whole theme with Dark Ascension. They gave us some very broken cards that we can just go off with and off for days.
Yeah, they did, but there are better ones. I mean, like, Mikaeus the Unhallowed is obviously a good card. And something like some of these other, Gravecrawler is obviously a good card. I don't understand why this card is a money card. I mean, it's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's just not amazing, and it's not a big role player anywhere that I can think of.
It's another option.
The only time I really actually do like this card is when it's partners in crime with its fellow zombie Grey Merchant of Asphodel, because adding 3 mana to the devotion count is just oh so sweet. When you can have 4 of them in a deck, that just makes it even better. This is a great casual zombie card, I think. But In
you can use
terms
it in
of
modern
in
or
terms
anything
of
else.
competitive or commander wise, I don't know. I could think of much better cards than this.
Well, Commander Singleton. If you lose Gravecrawler due to whatever, right, and it doesn't just sit around, Gravecrawler does get hit, it gets exiled. Everyone joins up against that card. Same thing with Macias, everything else. You need more options. You need more answers. This is another one. It's not the answer. It's not the best answer, but it's another one.
If you combine it with Persist, though, Persist and Undying, this can end the game by itself because of its, you lose 2 life trigger.
I know this goes with something else. I just can't recollect it right now.
I just don't get it. I mean, like I said, this is a good card, but it's not that good, in my opinion. I've always been kind of underwhelmed when I've tried to play this card, so, meh.
I've always just tried to figure out what's on the chest. Is that supposed to be the message, or is it a battery pack?
Oh, no, it's like a canister of poison gas or some unholy energy cell or something like that. I don't know.
Cool picture either way. But that's at least why you can understand why it's worth that. The picture alone.
It's pretty good art. Yeah, I'll give you that. But speaking of good art, I like this next one even better. Ooh, this is creepy and weird, and I like it. Okay, so number 8 on our list.
You like it because it's mythic, but
I
go
mean,
on.
it is true. Drogskull Reaver. Now, this is a $4 mythic. Again, significant price decrease recently. And it's a 7-drop, and it's 5 colorless, a white and a blue. It's a spirit with a 3/5 body. Now, it has massive amount of keywords.
Yeah.
Double strike, flying, and lifelink. And, of course, whenever you gain life, draw a card. Wow, is this card nuts.
It's very powerful.
I mean, it costs a heck of a lot to actually get it into play, but once you do, and if this sticks, ooh, that is really crazy. It's a blast on offense, not bad on defense either with the double strike, and it's got just a killer ability, which when you combine that with the double strike and the lifelink, it's basically drawing you 2 cards every time it attacks.
It is, and that's the thing that makes it so strong. Yeah, flying's nice, double strikes life, and the lifelink's nice. But is that worth 7 mana?
No.
No. If you had an enchantment that just read, whenever you gain life, draw a card, that's an enchantment worth 7 mana.
Oh yeah, I would play. There is that new one from Ravnica that's like 2 mana for that ability, and I'm like, this is a great card.
Yeah.
So.
The part that makes this thing a little bit more is that it can activate itself. It can turn itself on as an engine for just godless amounts of card draw.
Yeah.
But it can also go very well with stuff that doesn't have to do with this card at all. It can be individual cards that just gain you life on their own.
Oh, totally. And yeah, that's not even considering like really stupid combos like Soul Sister cards. They work great with this.
Or the lands that
even
give you a life.
Yeah, and there's infinite combos with this card, like Horizon Chimera, for example, where when you draw a card, you gain 1 life. You can basically then draw your entire deck. There are several cards that, when combined with this, let you draw your deck.
You just tutor for the card pretty much, or you draw the card you need, you play out what you had, you win the game.
Right. There are several cards when combined with Reaver that let you draw your entire deck. So.
Or Laboratory Maniac.
I mean, that's a key reason you would want to draw your deck. But this card is just awesome. Unfortunately, because it costs 7 mana and it doesn't have any real protection for itself, it's strictly a casual card. It's not competitive.
But Commander, it has
Commander,
a house.
oh, well, I count Commander as casual, but yes, in Commander, this is a house.
You bite your tongue.
But this is
Commander can get
this is a house in Commander, but you're never going to see this played in Modern. 7 mana is way too much for a creature that doesn't actually do anything when it enters the battlefield.
Well, we're going to see what you think, because number 9's kind of in that ballpark. It's called Elbrus the Blinding Blade, if I said that right.
Blinding Blade, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
hooked on phonics, yeah. $3.50 is where this card is lying around right now, and this is another flip card, so be prepared for me to go on for a bit. Now, this is an artifact that costs 7 mana. It's a legendary artifact at that for an equipment. The equipped creature only gets a +1/+0, so right there you're just kind of like, that's not worth that at all. But the equip cost is 1, so you're like, okay, why would I be paying this much mana? It reads, whenever the equipped creature deals combat damage, unattach it and transform it. Then it comes back into play as a 13/13 flying, intimidating, trample, legendary creature demon named
Withengar.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a button there and be like, read it. And lastly, whenever a player loses the game, put 13 1/1 counters on this creature.
Oh, I get it, because 13 is unlucky, and yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, they have a whole cycle about the whole 13.
Yeah,
Triskaidekaphobia. And, yeah. This card is just bonkers. It is great. It is crazy. You can cheat this equipment into play. You can get it out. So inherently, you can get a 13/13 flying, intimidating trample guy, which is awesome. It just doesn't have indestructible. I feel like it's the only thing it truly needed for the creature type to be truly validated.
Well, if either side, hopefully both, had indestructible, then maybe I could take this seriously. As it is, I don't see what all the hype is about. I really don't. I don't think it's good.
Oh, well,
I don't.
It can be cheated into play, but the problem with that is that those cards are typically in white. Now, if you look on the backside, that little dot next to the legendary creature, it represents the color identity towards it. So this card can only be played in decks
In
that
black,
combine
yes.
decks. Yeah. So unless you're using a black-white deck or something like that to tutor it out and cheat it into play, it's just you're going the slow way with black. Getting a creature that is 13/13 out is awesome. You feel powerful. Blightsteel Colossus on your side of the field feels great. And me being a green
so
creature,
just play a Blightsteel Colossus, and then you don't have to jump through ridiculous hoops to get something out that's just going to die 2 turns later.
And that's kind of where I'm at with this card. It's very cool. Yeah. I like the flavor, and there's a whole story. I know the lore behind this card. Do you?
Sort of. It's very flashy and all in general, but yeah, I'm just not sold on this card. I'm really not.
I can see where they're going, but this is not a mythic card. This is a rare card. But again, this is kind of before Commander was a thing. So it makes sense why this is kind of viewed as like when a player loses the game, they're expecting multiplayer for like 20 life. You can go ahead, you're definitely going to be hitting. So
I'm still kind of salty that things that aren't creatures can't be commanders. Like, I would love it if, like, this knife could be your commander, you know?
Hey, they might make some sort of variant where it's like, this is your representation is like legendary permanents.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fun, but yeah, I don't. Although it does have a cool backstory, I'll give you that. It is a cool concept of a card, but yeah, it just doesn't quite make it for me. They actually did one better in Shadows over Innistrad. They made that demon that comes out of the land that is indestructible. That is a super good card.
They did that one right. If that was the same kind of creature they put onto this, it would be better. It would be 100% better.
Yeah.
Or if this is something that you have to sacrifice something to, way better.
Right.
Just 7 mana for that, even if it was 5, it's still iffy.
Yeah, it's just not
You're not getting that much of a boost.
Yeah.
It's just, and again, it's hard to hit. You got to get commander, you have to get combat damage. It's not just ping damage, combat damage. So it has to be on an evasive creature. And
yeah, it's just not quite there for me.
But I love the card. I always just want to have a copy just to have a copy. It's like it's one of my favorite cards of Magic for no reason. But moving on to number 10, our final money card. Kyle, take it away.
Ooh, this is one of my favorite cards. Definitely from the set. I don't know in all of Magic, because there's a lot of cards to consider there. But number 10 here on our list, topping out our money cards, is Drogskull Captain. This card, unlike most of the cards on our list that came down in price, this jumped massively in price over the last 6 months or so. It used to be, like a 50-cent card maybe. Now it's up to $3 a copy, and the whole reason is in the last year or so, they've printed a ton of good spirits. So spirits as a tribe, especially white-blue spirits, actually became a thing relatively recently.
Much more viable.
And if you're going to do that, you got to play this card because, okay, anyway, let's just go into the card. I've been kind of ignoring it up to this point, but it's a gold creature. Again, it's blue-white, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 white, Spirit Soldier, and it's a 2/2 with flying. Pretty decent stats right there, right off. It's also a lord. Other spirit creatures you control get +1/+1. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh, wait, they also get hexproof. What?
Yeah.
Hexproof is one of the most broken abilities in this entire game, and you give it to your whole team. Hold on a minute.
Well, he doesn't get it, so that's the one thing that's viable.
Until you play another one, and then you're just totally untouchable. How is that fair? I love this card so much.
It's so low costed. It works very well, not only in spirits, changelings as well, which is actually very interesting. You could do some sort of lost puppy tribe with some good like lords or anthem effects that are tribal based, and they get all the benefits.
Yeah, I played Pauper Commander for a little while. I tried that out for a bit. Like the idea of that format is you have all commons. You have all commons in your deck, except you can have an uncommon, any uncommon creature as your commander, whether it's legendary or not. This is a dumb Pauper Commander to have because there's so many good spirits at common. And just having this to top it all off. Oh, by the way, you can't target my creatures with all the mediocre pauper removal you have. It's like, yeah, this is way too good for the format.
Yeah, it's like we saw with Padim when we went to Kaladesh, being able to give all artifacts pretty much hexproof. Very good. But this is just one better. It does it cheaper, it does it better. Not only does that do hexproof, it boosts them, and this guy is evasive. Decent stats. Again, this could be a mythic. This could be probably 4 or 5 mana to actually get this effect, and people would still play it.
Definitely.
It's something that Wizards undercosted, and then the price reflects it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I got my 4 copies of this a long, long time ago.
I don't have any. I don't truly need it, but it is a card to respect and to, well, take note of.
Oh, definitely. It will probably only get better as the game goes on, too.
True.
Now that spirits are a thing, I don't see them going away anytime soon.
Nope. And again, a lot of creatures make spirit tokens, which also get this effect. Even some board wipes go ahead and make it so that the creatures come back as spirits or anything else like that.
Now, if only Spirit Tribal was commander worthy, we need a legendary blue-white spirit. Come on, please.
We're close. We're not there yet, but I wouldn't say it takes too much more to get there, so we'll see. Who knows, maybe we'll do a video about anticipation of future guests.
Definitely.
But anyway, that's nothing to do with this. So this is concluding our money card segment of Dark Ascension. And be sure to let us know what you thought. Were these cards worth more than what we thought? Or is it anything like Geralt's Messenger where we just completely missed the boat on?
Yeah, I'm still not figuring that one out, but maybe you can tell me. And anyway, you can also, of course, find us on all of our social media platforms as per usual. Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Tapped Out now for our deck lists, all under TheCardPool. So look for us there.
And until then, I'm Stu.
And I'm Kyle.
And we'll see you next time at the Card Pool.